In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to create a part model using SolidWorks. As mentioned in the Getting Started with SolidWorks tutorials, in order to create any part or assembly or even drawing, the button we need to click is this button here. Click on this arrow now, click on File, New. Since we are creating a part, click on Part, and then click OK. This screen will now pop out. Okay, as good practice for creating any part in the future, always do these two settings first, right? Before you start any drawing in the future. What you want to do is check on this button here, make sure that it's in the unit that you want. Mine is in millimeters. And the second button you would like to click on is click on this arrow here next to the eyeball icon. Alright, and make sure that this button here, View Origins, is enabled. As the lesson progresses, I'll explain in the future why we need to have both of this enabled. To create any part model in SolidWorks, all you need to do is follow 3 simple steps. Right? As you get better at using SolidWorks, there will be, of course, shortcuts and faster methods to do it. But for me, whenever I teach students, I always like to tell them that any part you're going to create in the future will always come back to these 3 steps. So what are the 3 steps? The first step is to select a plane. Alright, think of planes as canvas. You are an artist and you're going to draw on a piece of canvas or paper. Since you're a 3D artist in this case, you have 3 different planes or 3 different canvases to work on. The second step involves actually sketching what you want. Whether it be a circle, a square, a line, a hexagon. And finally, the third part is to convert your 2D sketch into a 3D image by using the Features button, whereby you can just extrude and convert the image into a 3D image. An example of using these 3 steps, say I want to create a box in SolidWorks. So what do? Step number 1, I'm going to select a plane. Alright, there are 3 planes, it doesn't matter, front, top, or right plane. I tend to go for the front plane. What you do next is that you right click on it, and if you look at, there are 4 buttons here. Before you do any sketching, what you're going to do is select on normal to. This is optional, but watch what happens when I click it. The screen becomes perpendicular to me. So this normal to is a very useful button, because in the future, say that your canvas or your paper is everywhere, it's going to get very messy and it's going to get very hard to draw. What you want to do is right click on the plane, click left click normal to. After you have normal to the plane that you want to draw on, left click on the plane again, the same one, and select the sketch. Alright, select the sketch button here, left click on that. You'll notice that over here this button is highlighted, and the main buttons, I know there are a lot of buttons here, but at this level for CSWA, the main ones are going to be around this area here. Alright, so but for today's class, let's focus on this sketch tools here. Alright, so you have the straight align button, you have a circle button, you have a spline button, and rectangle, and all the other buttons here. Alright, so what do the buttons do? What you can do is experiment with it. Say if I click on the left line, left click on it, alright, I can left click anywhere and it draws a line, a continuous line. Okay, if you're not happy with your drawing, what you can do is hit on the escape button and just highlight the whole thing and hit the delete key on your keyboard. Alright, if I want to draw a circle, all I need to do is click on the circle button. Alright, and just left click on the screen and left click somewhere else, and I'll get a circle. So again, highlight. If I'm not happy, delete it. So in this case, I want to draw a box, so I need a square or rectangle. What I'm going to do is left click on the corner rectangle button here, and what I'm going to do next is move my mouse to this origin here, to this middle part here. Alright, so you do not have to draw it on the origin, but a good practice for CSWA is always start your drawing from the origin. You realize for the rest of the classes, I will actually draw everything on the origin. Right? So left click on the origin, drag your mouse out any way you want, right, to the approximate desired shape of the box. Left click again. Now if you're not happy with the shape or the size of the box, what you can do is you can you realize that this as you're drawing a box, this thing actually open up here. You can actually select the dimensions of the box, X, Y, and Z. So example, I can select 100, and it moves on the Y part, and it moves, enlarges it in the Y direction. I can select 100 on the X as well. Alright, and it moves it in the X, and it moves it to the left or the right. Okay, so once I'm happy with drawing the box that I want, alright, once I'm happy with drawing the sketch that I want, what you want to do next is click on the accept button. Alright, we're still in step number 2, by the way. Click on the accept button, left click on this. Okay, and now let's proceed to step number 3. Go to features. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to convert the 2D image into 3D. So there are many ways of doing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude. I'm going to do extrusion. Click on the extrude base. Okay, a preview comes out. Alright, basically what they say is that you're going to make your 2D sketch into something that look like a box. What I can do is I can drag it. This yellow is the image, the preview image. I can drag this, right, to the approximate size that I want. Okay, I can even drag it backwards. Or if I want to be very specific, let's say I already know the size of my box, I can again move here, alright, and say select 200, and I'll get the box will be moved to 200 millimeters. Once I'm happy with the size of the box, hit the tick button, and you get a box. Let's try the 3 steps again, but this time to create this object here. After completing this video tutorial, you should be able to get started on practice set 1. In practice set 1, you're required to create a part using the initials of your name. In my case, my initials is CJ. So I'm going to show you how I create this part here. So the first thing you're going to do is click on File, left click on, again click on New, because we're going to create a new part. Again, this thing pops up, select part, ignore the other 2 for now, click OK. Okay, again check, make sure these units are in the correct units that you want, and make sure that this eyeball icon is enabled. So following the 3 steps again, step 1, select a plane. I'm going to select front plane, right click, normal to, and what I'm going to do next is go to step number 2, select the sketch, left click here, left click on a circle to create the base of my part. I'm going to start drawing on the origin again. So left click now your mouse on the origin, drag the circle to the approximate size that you want. Okay, in my case I want my circle to be around 300 millimeters, which is 30 centimeters. Okay, I can zoom out. If your image is too large, what you can do is you move your middle mouse button, right, you get to zoom in and zoom out. What I'm going to do next is I'm quite happy in my circle now. Hit on the tick button, hit the accept button, and go to step number 3, go to features, and I'm going to extrude it. Left click on it. If this pops up, they ask you to select a sketch or an object. So what you're going to do is click on the arrow here and select on the sketch that you did in step number 2, which is sketch 1, left click on it. Okay, I can preview, I can drag it any size or thickness that I want, but in this case I want to be more specific, so what I'm going to do is select the bar here and type in 200 millimeters, which is 20 centimeters. Too thick, let's make it 100 millimeters. And once I'm happy, hit the tick button. Okay, and you get your plate. Next, I want to emboss my initial CJ onto this plate. So I'm going to repeat the same 3 steps again. Instead of selecting one of the planes for step number 1, SolidWorks has one advantage in the sense that after creating a part, any surface of the part, in this case this is a cylinder, so there are 3 potential surfaces, can be used as the next sketch plane. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to emboss my initial CJ onto this this face here. So what I'm going to do is left click on the plane, a bunch of things come out, a bunch of buttons come out. So what I'm going to do next is again select normal to. So now the face of the circle faces me perpendicularly, and I can now go to sketch, left click on the sketch tab. So I want to create the initial C, and there are a few ways I can do it. I'm going to use a straight line, left click on the straight line. If this comes out, it says a plane, select a plane. It means that my canvas or the surface of the circle has been deselected. So what I need to do is just select the surface of this circle again, because I'm going to draw on top of it. Left click on it. So create a C. Just every time you left click on the line, it creates a point or a stop. So what I'm going to do is I need to complete this loop here. Okay, so once I'm done with that, hit the tick button. Again, now I'm going to create a J, but instead of using a line, I want to click on the spline, because I want to show you how to use a spline. Left click on it. So you don't really see spline used a lot in CSWA because it's very hard to control and to get a precise shape, but it's good to know anyways. So how to use a spline? First, after clicking on the spline button, left click on the surface that you want to draw on. So just keep, every time you hit the left click, you see a dot, just like the straight line. So this dot are the place you can change direction. If you want your shape to be more precise, just click more dots so that you can create the shape that you want. Okay, make sure you close the loop, and what I do next is hit a tick button, hit the accept button. Okay, I'm done with step number 2. So if I move my middle mouse button, you realize that I hold down my middle mouse button and rotate and drag my mouse along, I can actually drag the model away from the perpendicular view so that I can see, so that I can place my model at a certain angle. What I'm going to do next is click on features for step number 3. Again, I'm just going to extrude. I can actually drag it to the approximate thickness that I want, hit the tick button, and I'm done. Alright, don't worry too much about the color. In another video, I'll show you actually how to change color and make the thing look better.